John Sudals is a wheat and sheep farmer who's been dealing with depression for more than 20 years. John's health declined so slowly he didn't realise what was happening.
I don't think these days I've got too many enemies in life, but if I did have, I wouldn't wish what that went through on them. But it was pretty ordinary, you know, not being able to sleep, pacing the floor in the middle of the night, going to work to do my farm work and procrastinating, not making decisions, doing things over and over again, you know, check the sheep today, check the sheep tomorrow, check the sheep the next day.
Even as a young man, John Sudals was well known as a farmer and a champion footballer with the old VFL club South Melbourne. John felt under pressure to live up to the achievements of his father and grandfather, who'd both been leaders in the community. By the time he'd reached his 40s, that pressure was taking its toll.
Like, I just isolated myself. I wouldn't answer the phone. We were coming up to shearing. It was a good season. I got my team organised and things were going along, and you know, everything was going right, but I still wasn't happy.
In 1988, as John Sudals readied for another day of shearing, things came to a dramatic head. After months of relentless stress and fractured sleep, he was on the brink of a breakdown.
That morning I had got to the wool shed at 5 a.m. Now, what would anybody go to the wool shed at 5 a.m. for? But I woke up at 2 o'clock and couldn't sleep, so I might as well have let my wife sleep. So I got out of bed and paced around, and then I thought, well, bugger this, I'll go down to the wool shed.
For many farmers, it's a familiar cycle of work, exhaustion and anxiety. John Sudals was so tired and stressed he was barely able to function, yet he had no idea he was suffering from depression. His uncle arrived just as John broke down.
And he turned up just to see how the shearing was going, and he walked in the door and I just cried. I just broke down and I just could not, and that was the finish. I just said to him, look, I've got to go, I need help.
John received that help and expert care in a city hospital, but he was nervous coming home, worried what people would think of him.
Unless you've been there, it's hard to understand how it would be so difficult for a bloke like me to walk into the local newspaper agency and ask for the morning paper. And yet it really took a lot of courage for me to lift myself up to just do that.
But John's fears were misplaced. A mate spotted him and wandered over to welcome him home, a small gesture that left a lasting impression.
I'm sitting there in the passenger seat beside the supermarket, actually, and sort of he walked up to me and he just said, "G'day, Jumbo." He said, "It's good to see you back in town." And I've never forgotten that. Like, he probably has, but I haven't.
There's much more to a man than just that winning type attitude, but the focus is very much in our modern culture on that winning, and we've almost come full circle to where that warrior stuff comes to the top, and so that sense of loss becomes a real problem for men.